Hi young women, I'm Emily Van Wagenen and I'm really excited to share some things with you about leading music. If nobody's ever asked you to lead the music before, they probably will. And I hope that you'll try it even if you feel like you don't know a lot about music. It's really pretty fun. And you can do it even if you haven't had music lessons before. I'm just going to give you a few basics today and I challenge you to try it. You can practice with your family first and then practice in young women's and then move on from there. First of all, I'd like to answer the question, why do we need a music leader? Why do we have to have somebody up there waving their arm in order to sing? Well, of course we don't. We can sing without a music leader. But the music leader helps keep everyone together, like know when to start and know when to stop. The music leader also communicates with the pianist. So the pianist or organist should be watching the music leader, just like the people who are singing should be watching the music leader. The music leader helps people know how slow or fast to go, and also kind of helps communicate the mood of the piece and how loud or soft it should be. So waving your arm a little faster if you feel like the song should go a little faster, or a little slower if you feel like it's too fast. Wave a little bigger if you want people to sing louder, or maybe a little smaller if you want people to sing softer. So the person who's playing the piano or organ should be watching you. But there might be times when that person is inexperienced and is nervous too. Maybe just wants to watch the music and is a little bit afraid to look away from the music and look at you. If that's the case, you just keep waving your arms. At that point, you're kind of following the accompanist, but that's okay too. A few things just about the waving your arm part. You might notice sometimes people looking a little bit awkward, and if they do, it's probably because they're doing one of two things. One is they might be doing the floppy fish hand. So the floppy fish hand is where you're waving your wrist too much, like this. Down, a little bit too much wavy wrist like that. That's the floppy fish hand. So that looks a little bit weird. Another thing that looks a little bit weird is the robot arm. The robot arm is when your hand is really stiff and you're really not moving it at all, like this. There's a robot arm right there. So, we want to get kind of in between there, where we have a little bit of motion in the hand and most of it's in the arm, about like that. Just so you know. So you can try when you're doing the patterns. One way to do it is to look in the mirror and see, am I doing floppy fish hand or robot hand, or do I look kind of smooth and easy with it? There are some really good helps that we have right in our hymn book, and I'm going to show you. This is on page 384 and 385, so near the back of the hymn book. They also have this in the back of the primary book. And I'll show you those pages. In fact, I'm just going to pick up the phone for a minute and show it to you. So you see these, hope you can see that. You see these kind of wavy lines right there. Those are showing how to wave your arm in different patterns. So you can look at those whenever you need to. So when you get a song, you find out what song you're going to lead, the first thing you do is you look at the beginning of the song and see what number is there. And that number is going to help you know which beat pattern to use. So here we have a staff. This is the number you're looking for near the beginning right here. The main thing that we're interested in is the number on the top. That number for this song is a 3. So that means we'll be using the 3/4 beat pattern, like you see in the hymn book. This pattern, I hope you'll practice it with me, it's just a triangle. The first beat, number 1, is always down. So you bring your hand straight down, and then you go out, away from your body, straight up. Down, out, up. I hope you're trying it with me. Down, out, up. Down, out, up. So if you go down, in, up, that's backwards. So try not to do that. Go down, away from your body, up. Down, out, and up. So I'd like to demonstrate a few other really common beat patterns. The very simplest one is when there's a 2 on the top, like 2/4 time, because that's just down and up. So all you have to do is down, up, down, up. That's all there is to it. If you're leading something and you don't have a book to look at or you don't know what to do, you can always just do down and up until it's all over. Down and up. Notice that your hand keeps steady, going down, up, or down, out, up. Even if there's a longer sound, if people are singing a long sound, usually your hand just keeps going rhythmically, the same speed. So the next one that's really common that I'd like to show you is 4-4. And so that's when you have a 4 on the top. And this one is kind of like making a plus sign. So always remember down is first. So down, and then you go out across your body, and then you go out of your body, and then you go up. So if you go down, out, in, up, that's backwards. So try not to do that. Go down, in, out, and up. Try it a few times. Down, in, out, and up. So that's called 4-4 time, right? Another one that's fairly common and one that scares people sometimes is 6-8 time, because it's a little bit more complex pattern. But there are some options for doing this pattern. This pattern goes down, in, out, out, up. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Try it with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if that seems too complicated, I have good news. There's options. One option is to do 2 3-4s instead of 1-6. You do a big 3-4, 1, 2, 3, and a little 3-4. 1, 2, 3. Try it that way. Down, out, up, then a little one. Down, out, up, down, out, up, and a little one. Down, out, up. The other option is it's a song that's in 6-8 time with a 6 on top, and it's a fast one. If it's a fast one, all you really have to do is a 2 beat. So then it would be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Recognize that? That's the same as 2-4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that works best if it's a fast song. So, a few things to watch for in your music. One is this. Sometimes you'll see one of these over one of the notes, or sometimes it's over the end. This is called a fermata, or you might call it a hold sign. When you get to that, that means you hold that note longer than usual. So we need to stop your arm and then continue the beat pattern after a while, after holding it for, like, an extra count or two. You'll be able to kind of feel it. And if the pianist is watching you, the pianist will know when to go on by when you continue moving your arm. So that's one thing to watch for. Another thing to notice is that at the end, we need to do something to tell them it's the end. So let's say you're on your song and you get to the last note, and you need to do something to tell everybody to stop singing, right? So one easy way to do it is when you get to that last note, just keep your hand open like this until you want them to stop, and then you can do a little circle like that. Or some people like to hold it and then close up their hand like that to show them it's time to stop. So we do that in between verses, like if we're going back for a second verse. And sometimes we do that after we have a fermata too. You might do a little close and then, okay, here we go again. So those are some things to watch for. So I'd like to just have us use a few practice hymns where you might use these things. And one is Come Follow Me. I'm turning in my hymn book to 116. And something very important to notice, so Come Follow Me is in 3-4 time. And it's kind of like this little practice one that I have right here. So these notes, even if you don't know how to read the notes, that's okay. You can still be in the right place in the music if you watch for these. So these lines are called bar lines, and every time you get to the beginning of a new measure, so from here to here is a measure, and here to here is a measure. Every time you get to a new bar line, you get to a new measure, and the first note of that bar line, your hand should be going down. So if you're off and you notice, hey, I got to that measure and I'm not going down, then just get back on. When you get to a new measure, go ahead and start on a down again. Don't worry if that happens. That happens to everybody, pretty often. So if you were using, say, the song Come Follow Me, then usually the pianist will play a little introduction. That's the part they play to get everybody ready. And you kind of have your hand ready. And then to show that it's almost time to sing, you kind of do an up scoop with your hand and then you go down. So let me put this down for a second. So let's say we're going to do Come Follow Me, and the pianist is playing, and hopefully you're locking eyes with the pianist for a moment or two there so they know you're both ready. And then when you get to the beginning, or right before the beginning, you raise your arm like this and then you go down. Come follow me, the Savior said, like that. Notice that my hand keeps going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, even though that some sounds are longer than others, like come follow me, the Savior. So you don't stop your hand, it just keeps going unless you get to one of those hold signs, remember that, this, or to the end. Okay, so that's an example of 3/4 time. And an example of 4/4 time is called To Serve. So I'm going to turn to that one. So your organist would play a little introduction, then you lock eyes with each other, then you would raise your arm and then start the 4/4 pattern. Called to serve him, heavenly King of glory, chosen heir to witness for his name. Good, I hope you're trying some of these with me. An example of 2/4 time is count your blessings. So in that one, like in the chorus, you would just be doing count your many blessings, name them one by one. It's just down and up, down and up, down and up. Now I'd like to give you one sort of final thing to watch for. Some songs, darn it, don't begin with the first beat of the measure. Sometimes they begin with what we call an incomplete measure or an upbeat. And there's many examples of this, but I'm going to show you one on Sweet Hour of Prayer. That's hymn number 142. I'm going to turn to that really quick. Actually, I'll show you right here. So I'm going to move our bar line like this. And, oops. I'll show this to you in just a minute. So now, here's the bar line right here, and look, we only have one note in front of the bar line. So this is an upbeat note. So instead of starting down right there, we would start by going up, and then so we would be down on this one right here, like up, then we're right here, down, 2, 3, and then continue on. And it'll be like that for every measure. You just go up first, and then down. So an example of this is in Sweet Hour of Prayer. And Sweet Hour of Prayer is one of those dreaded 6/8 songs, and it begins with an upbeat. Let me show if I can. Here's Sweet Hour of Prayer, and if you look at the first measure, you see just one note right there, the word sweet, and then hour is the downbeat. That comes on the next measure. So we would start it like this. Sweet Hour of Prayer. Then we keep going with the 6/8 time, or you can do this one. Sweet Hour of Prayer. Sweet Hour of Prayer, and so on. So I hope you'll try this and have fun with it. One thing I wanted to mention is that you feel sometimes kind of awkward standing up there because you're afraid you might make a mistake and you might look silly. I would say don't worry about it for several reasons. For one thing, most of the people who are singing don't know if you're doing it right or not. So just keep your arm waving confidently and people are going to follow you and you'll be fine. Even the pianist, if she notices you're not on right, she's just going to keep playing and things are just going to be fine. The other thing is that many people in the congregation really aren't watching anyway. So even if you do make a mistake, it's just not the end of the world. To illustrate this, I'd like to share something that happened to one of my daughter's friends. My daughter was leading some music at state conference, so many people present, and she became lightheaded while she was leading the music, and she passed out there, right there in front of everyone. And only one person noticed that she passed out, and that was the organist. So if you think everybody is staring at you, think again. They're probably not. So we have a role to play, but on the other hand, it's not critical if you make a mistake. I don't want you to pass out. But hopefully you can just have a fun time with a smile on your face, and don't worry if you mess up, and just enjoy. I hope you all have a great time leading the music, and I miss seeing you on Sundays, and I hope to see some of you leading the music, maybe even in sacrament meeting. I love you all, and hope you have a great time. Bye.